I was wondering what makes someone have a crush or like a woman. It can be the littlest, most simple things. No judgment here. Share with me. Story 1. Being frank and honest. When I first started college, I was just exhausted by how cagey and insecure everyone was about the weird state of half-independence that young adults have. Everyone is secretive and judgmental about how much financial help they're getting from the government, from the university, from their parents, where they live, how much rent they pay, how much they work, or how much they make. Then I met this girl, and while we were chatting, she was just blunt with, "I share an apartment, but my parents pay my rent." I almost sighed with how refreshing the honesty was. Everyone else seemed so scared of being judged for their privilege or lack thereof, or what any of this stuff says about their maturity or competence. In that one sentence, she just kind of acknowledged that everyone's at different stages of life, no judgment, and that's how it is. Story 2. True kindness without trying to draw attention to themselves. An ex-girlfriend is really and truly a caring, selfless person. We are good friends and will never be more, but she will still bring me food when I'm sick or even not sick. She's a caterer. She often takes her leftovers to the homeless without posting it on social media. She will babysit or dog sit for me in a pinch. She has thoughtful gifts and cards for every occasion. If she hasn't heard from you in 4 to 5 weeks, she calls to check in and is very uplifting and positive. This isn't just for me. This is for everyone in her social circle, both male and female. She doesn't make a big deal about it or publicize her good deeds. I have never heard her gossip or betray anyone's confidence. If someone else is talking about her friends, she will have your back and, in polite language, defend them vigorously. I could hand her $25,000 in cash tomorrow, disappear for 5 years, and she would have every penny set to the side untouched when I returned. She happens to be very traditionally beautiful, but if she wasn't, she would still be the most beautiful human being I have ever known. This doesn't mean she's flawless, but she is very self-aware. Story 3. Tucking their hair behind their ears. The lost in thought aloofness. Attitude. Story 4. There is this look. I don't know quite how to describe it. Like she says something in jest, and she has this look, like a playful look in her eyes and a smile. You just see the humor in her. That is really something. But I melt easily at women who are genuinely nice. Like really warm, you see that they care. Not that they have no confidence or can't stand up for themselves, but when I see that they really have warm feelings. A woman who shows her warm feelings, that is something that melts me. Story 5. When she shows real interest in my interests, there's a difference between genuinely working to explore and maybe learn to enjoy something, and just tolerating that a partner is into something you're not. We joke about the fact that I decided to propose to my wife after our first nerd-type convention, but really there's a kernel of truth there. She could have sighed and been fine with me having a guy weekend, but instead she not only decided to try her first convention, she ended up keeping notes and pictures on her phone of some items I had mentioned wanting to buy. This way, she could hunt with me or even grab them when we were separated. I realized that weekend she loved me. All of me, not just the bits and pieces necessary for a basic relationship. Story 6. Being direct. If someone says, "I think you are great," or "we should get coffee," without any warning, I am usually dumbstruck. Also, when they are going and accomplishing stuff, like if they want to help more people and then I see them helping someone, I am just proud. Story 7. They are so soft and cute. Also, sometimes I just wish I had someone so I could make their day better. But also, if we can talk for hours about some nerdy topic, you better believe I am going to get a crush. Story 8. Intelligence. When a woman is obviously more intelligent than I am, I love when a woman makes me feel dumb. No clue why. I'm not a genius or anything, but something about intelligence makes my legs give out. Edit. Plural women was used. Story 9. The hair. We've been hanging out for a while, and if she has a ponytail and suddenly she unties it and lets her hair down, the sexiest thing. It's like a magic trick right in front of your eyes. Story 10. When they excel in some competition or activity that I also do, or when they challenge me to do something in that same thing. For example, a story I have told in another place. When I started lifting, a trainer, a 25-year-old woman, friendly mocked me for making squats with just 20 kilograms. She said, "Only 20? I thought you were stronger." 50 is where the big guys start. And I was like, watch me. She doesn't work there anymore. But now I can lift 70 kilograms. It's not much, but it's good progress for me. I like women who inspire me to be better. Story 11. One of my first crushes was this girl who had an amazingly unique smell. It reminded me of my uncle's house in Midland because it had the same scent. I can't quite describe what the smell was as I never found out what it is myself, but it just made me want to be around her more. And the more I was around her, the more I started to like her. We never ended up together, sadly, but I'll always remember the smell, and it always makes me think of her. For anyone who's wondering what the smell was like, it's almost a spicy sweet scent that reminded me of the color red. It wasn't overly sweet, just barely sweet enough to register as sweet, but it was mostly like a spicy scent. I'd love to actually find out what it might be because I'd actually like to wear that scent myself. But no matter how many different colognes and perfumes I've tried, nothing has ever come close. Story 12. I love facial expressions. I think they are the cutest thing on a woman. Just a cheeky smile here, a little exaggeration there, or a quick roll of the eyes to end a sarcastic comment really make me fall for a girl. Top it off with a big smile and a good sense of humor, and I'm sold. Story 13. Passion. If I see a woman doing something she loves well, it really gets me. Singing, dancing, science, flame baton twirling, I don't care. But a girl with aspirations? A girl with a good work ethic, goals, and passions? She's someone I really want to talk to. Story 14. When they get excited about things without being embarrassed about it. Like when a woman has a hobby and has deep knowledge about it and tries to share it with you, it just turns me on. I was sitting next to this pretty, average-looking woman once, and I wasn't particularly attracted to her until the moment someone mentioned they love knitting. This woman just started talking so animatedly about a DNA scarf she was working on and looking up stitch patterns from a website and different types of yarn. She just turned into the most captivating woman in the room, to me at least. It's kind of rare these days to come across someone who has a hobby that's not watching TV, just loafing around and then calling it an adventure. So it's very attractive when I do. I love learning more about other people's hobbies because it's a unique window into seeing what their personality types are like and what motivates them, so seeing that in women drives me nuts in a good way. Story 15. Being goofy. Something about that playfulness makes me want to hug her and join in. Example. I told an attractive coworker they had her favorite pizza in the cafeteria today. She looked at me, stuck her tongue out, started panting like a puppy, and ran towards the cafeteria. She went from hot, unapproachable girl to playful girl from next door. Story 16. There has to be chemistry for it to work, but when a girl just clicks with you so thoroughly, it's like you couldn't stop flirting if you tried. Instead of getting nervous, it just brings out the best in you, and you are on your best game ever, and she's giving it right back. My wife and I clicked like this and immediately became friends, and a couple of years later, we got married. It wasn't just sexual. It was just the ability to make any conversation ripe with tension and lots of witty back and forth. Story 17. I love how most of these comments have something to do with a girl's heart, personality, or passions, and not so much about the physical. As a woman, it's nice to see. Story 18. The voice. A girl with a raspy voice can whip me up like a badass. The only example I can think of is Rashida Jones from Parks and Recreation. I was blessed with one good friend with such a beautiful voice. Story 19. Passion. Caring deeply about something is cute, and when it is to the point of being very interested, I find it admirable and attractive. I love speaking to anyone who is highly invested in an interest of theirs, as it makes for a topic that can be lighthearted or deep in conversation. It definitely adds a completely non-sexual but very meaningful layer to any relationship. Story 20. Everyone makes such an issue regarding conversation, for good reason, don't get me wrong. I love when a woman can be silent with me. She doesn't need to hear herself talk, doesn't need my input, no phone or television distracting her. Just relaxed, deliberate silence, enjoying the very presence of another person. I've only had two who could do it. Story 21. If they are passionate about something, being quirky, and have a dark sense of humor, anyone can laugh at something funny, but if you laugh at something serious like I do, that is very attractive. Story 22. This is random, but I had a female coworker start a conversation with me, and she very casually just partially sat or leaned on the edge of the desk at my cubicle. I think this ties into the confidence aspect that some have talked about. She wasn't afraid to occupy my space during the conversation, and I just really liked it. Story 23. Any sort of excited noise, trying to remain friends with my ex, and if I start focusing on the negatives, I just think of her doing that. It makes me smile every time. This is going to be tricky. Story 24. Here are some things that I, as a teenage guy, really like in girls. Hugging. I love hugging a lot. If she plays or has interest in video games. Kindness. Nobody likes someone who is mean. When she seems excited to talk to me, not when it seems like she has to or feels obligated to, but if she actually enjoys talking with me. Smiles. I really like some girls' smiles. When she's kind of nerdy like me, but not excessively. Short girls. I have literally no idea why, but I really like short girls. If she lets me pick her up and carry her or give her piggyback rides. I guess it makes me feel stronger than I really am. Plus, I really enjoy it for some other reason, but I'm not sure what it is. Intelligence to some degree. Not egotistical about it, either. I think that's all I've got for now. Probably a lot because I try to be a wholesome person. Story 25. I don't know why, but whenever a girl shows talent in the arts, it is just so sexy to me. If a girl has a good voice or is good at drawing, it is my weakness. Also, messy buns on anyone are gorgeous. Story 26. It sounds corny but flirty winking. I was leaving a Burger King parking lot and slowed down for a woman to cross. As she walked by, she gave us a flirty wink. My coworker, who's been married for 40 years, said, "Dang, I didn't expect to get flustered today." Story 27. 1. Cleanliness and organization. I went over to a girl's house and all her books and movies were organized alphabetically, and there were a lot of them. Reading. Watching a woman completely absorbed by a book instead of an iPad or a TV is amazing. A girl who can read a book from start to finish is a keeper. Useful knowledge. I saw a girl put a piece of bread in with a freshly baked batch of cookies she made for me, and I laughed at it until she told me they would still be soft a week later. She was right. I should have put a ring on that one. Humor. There is nothing better than any friend or girlfriend that makes you unable to stop laughing even if you tried. Love for animals and children. If a woman lights up every time she sees a puppy or a baby, I will melt every time. Story 28. A woman's attitude about decorating or her ability to notice small details in everyday situations that I don't is always very charming. When a woman comes to your home and does little things like decorating with pictures or art, it's delightful. As a guy, I care more about functionality, and as long as my big screen TV is set up with a nice soundbar, that's my idea of decorating. Women tend to pay more attention to small, minute details that really bring a home together. Things I never knew I needed, but they do, and it's like, how did I live without it? Story 29. When she makes terrible puns, we created a drinking game of taking a drink anytime the other does something that makes you think, yeah, I love them. We found out a lot of the little things that we notice about each other. Story 30. I like a girl who can thread the needle between abstinence and being a drunk. You know, a girl who can party and let loose on some weekend night, but not get drunk every night or walk around in a marijuana fog. It's weird how hard it can be to find someone like that. So many women are all or nothing. Story 31. When they hug you. If any of you know the love languages, mine is very much physical touch. For those that don't, it just means I feel the most loved when someone shows it by hugging me or rubbing my back or anything like that. Unfortunately, most of my friends are girls, and so I feel really awkward asking them for hugs and can get pretty starved for affection. So if any girl offers me a hug, or better yet, just walks up to me and hugs me, I get pretty weak and have to make sure I remember to let go and don't seem creepy. Story 32. That girl at work who knows she has a 12-hour day ahead, so she didn't bother with makeup, and she's just wearing a hoodie and whatever on, she's the one. Story 33. I think it's extremely attractive when a girl compliments another girl just between us. Like if I'm sitting at a table with her, then another friend who is a girl stops by to say hi, and then after she leaves, the one I'm sitting with says something like, Wow, she's really pretty, rather than silently judging or talking badly about her out of jealousy. It's a small thing, but honestly, those types of comments show me she's confident about herself but doesn't have too much pride to not compliment another woman. Sure, I'm a straight dude, but I am more than willing to acknowledge that Hugh Jackman is definitely a 100 out of 10. Story 34. A quiet confidence where they know what they want but do not let the whole room know that. Also, a deep interest in books and an ability to hold conversations. Story 35. I love it when I feed a woman and she likes it so much that she does this little wiggle. It's almost like a dance, and they are all different. Many women do this, usually with a smile on their faces. Short girls running is absolutely adorable for some reason. That's all I have off the top of my head.